just spent the last 20 minutes recording 2 shirim on Amunah Bitachon. And after I finished recording, I looked at the microphone, and for some reason it turned itself off. And therefore, nothing came out at all. And this made me really think. I've given close to 1,500 shirim on Koma David Rahman Tov Abed. Right? Koma David Rahman Tov Abed. This is the halacha brought in Shulchan Aruch. Simon Reish Lamed Sefei. I just told someone yesterday, we were flipping to a Mishnah Berurah. This, I believe, is the most important halacha in Shulchan Aruch. A person should be rugel. He should be accustomed to say everything the merciful one does is for good. So what happens when a person spends 20 minutes of time, he gives shirim, puts all his energy into it, and then looks at it and nothing happened? You know what he should do? He should say, thank you, Hashem, that it didn't work out. It obviously wasn't meant to transpire. In those shirim, I quoted my Rebbe, Rav Moshe Sternbach, Shlita, he should live and be gesund till 120, who had a regular karusa with the Brisker Rav. Every morning he would go for a walk with the Brisker Rav, I believe it was in the morning, and they would discuss topics of Torah and other areas. And Rav Moshe Sternbach said, we think that the Brisker Rav's greatness was in Torah. He said, that's a mistake. It's true, it was very, very great in Torah. But his real greatness was in Emunah and Bitachon. Yeah. The Brisker Rav wouldn't move his finger like this unless he first checked it with a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And this is something which is critical. Our level of Emunah and Bitachon expresses itself during these situations when something goes wrong, and how do we react? Now, I just spent 20 minutes, 2 classes on Emunah Bitachon, and speaking about how life is a litmus test we're really at. And then I check my microphone and it's off. How do I react? Am I really being honest with myself? Right? As Shakespeare said, this above all to yourself be true. So I would really reiterate quickly what I said in those 2 classes, since Nate's is quickly approaching and the sky is getting blue. A person has to know, he has to evaluate where do you stand in Emunah Bitachon. This is a critical exercise that we all must do. Just like what Sternbach said about the Brisker Rav, he wouldn't move his finger unless he checked it with Hashem. Let's say on a scale from 1 to 100, that's 99, because nobody's perfect. Yeah, where do we stand? Go through your day, go through your experiences, go through your life, go through how you spend money, go through how you deal with people. Right? Are you willing to spend money to make people feel good? Right? If you are, that's an expression of Emunah Bitachon. If you're not, why aren't you? Is it worth $5? If someone comes up to you and says, I wrote a sefer, will you buy it? It costs $5, $10, right? You don't need that sefer, but I'll tell you the truth, it doesn't matter. The person who's coming to you with that sefer, he spent thousands of hours writing it. And if you tell him you're not interested, you're basically telling him your life is worthless, those thousands of hours. It's not worth $5. No. Are you willing to spend $5? This is a function of Emunah Bitachon, right? All the actions, how we spend our money, Chazal tell us, koso, kiso, and kaso, right? These are the root of chaf samech means to cover up. These are all ways that we cover up ourselves, and it becomes uncovered through our wallets. Yeah, kiso, how much you spend money. This shows if you put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, this shows where we're really holding. I want to be talking. Kaso, do you get angry? Do you get upset? Just 20 minutes making this share. How upset do you get? Now, I have to tell you, I wasn't so happy that these didn't get recorded, but I knew after speaking about it for 20 minutes, this is what I should. So I didn't get so upset. So I deserve a little bit of credit, but not too much because I just given a class on it. So it's not such an accurate evaluation, but be accurate. Rav Ram ben Arambam writes in his Sefer Maspik La'oved Hashem, just like there's an Avera to have too much ishtalis, there's an Avera, a transgression, to have too little ishtalis, to put in too little effort. A person has to know exactly where they're holding. And when we talk on, let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, they're a 70 or 75 or an 80, let's say they evaluate themselves, right? If you're a 70, don't try to be an 80. And if you're 80, don't try to be a 90. right? If you're a 70, you could be 71, 72, stretch a little bit. Or your head could be a 69, 68, because we all make mistakes. We all fail. But if you're a 70, don't be a 60 or 50. And don't be an 80 or a 90. Yeah. Try to be honest with yourself in your life, because this is your relationship with Hashem. Try to grow slowly. Right? And if you want to grow, for the next 40 days, every day learn Perek Aleph of Shar Emunah Bitachon, the Chovos Levavos. It will take you exactly 2 minutes if you do it properly. Right? But after those 40 days, you'll be a different person, because he writes there succinctly that he talks about Shalvus HaNefesh, feeling calm no matter what is going on. I remember once I was in a pikua. I was on a bus going up Yechezkel, we turned on to Malch Yisrael, and suddenly we heard bullet shots firing overhead. It was a pikua. There was a Arab car who had smashed into a bus stop. There was an exchange of fire between the Arabs and the police, and we were both flying overhead. And I was kind of watching this like a television program. I slammed on the wall of the bus and I started saying, "Tell him," right? I maintained somewhat calm during this very trying time, right? Actually, it's not to my credit. My son told me we should be davening, so he gets the credit. These type of situations, I don't wish them on anybody, but this is where our real level of Emunah and Bitachon comes out, right? When you're buying food for Shabbos, Chazal tell us all the money spent on Shabbos, it's all coming back. My friend Rav Mordechai Machlis has 100 people every Shabbos, right? Why don't we have 100 people every Shabbos? You know why? Because we don't believe that Chazal as much as he does, and we're not as friendly and warm and loving of every single Jew as he is as well. And maybe we don't have necessarily 100 guests, and maybe that's not our goal in life. But know what your goals are. Know where you stand. My Rebbe Rav Yaakov Hillel Shlita should be kazot to 120. Sharfu Shlema Rav Avducha Yaakov ben Gladys Chaton. Right? He told me the reason we do Ishtadlis is to give free choice in the world. He personally has to raise $4 to $5 million a month for his institutions. He told me if he had to raise $500,000, he could do it because he has the talent and the wisdom to raise that money. But $5 million, it's impossible. So I just rely on Hashem. So what do we need? And he said, if I had more emunah, I would spend more money and for Torah, for his koilim and his yeshivas. But what do we do Ishtalis for? Says Rav Yaakov, because there has to be free choice in the world. If things would just happen like when we snap our fingers, people would have free choice. There would be no tests in the world. So therefore, remember that when you're doing Ishtalis, it's not because this has anything at all, even an iota, to bring us to Yeshua. It's to maintain free choice in the world and to grow in our challenge in life and our relationship with Hashem. And the more we let go like this and just put things in Hashem's hands, the more successful we are going to be in our relationship with Hashem. And about Hashem, the more that you rely on Hashem, the more you will be surrounded with the attribute of Chesed and see Hashem's Chesed in every single thing you do in your life. Right? So therefore, in conclusion, I'm asking you 3 things. Number 1, I'm asking you, if you can, at least today, if you can't do it 40 days, at least do it today. Open up Chovos Levavos, Shar Bitachon, Perek Aleph. It's like 2 or 3 lines. Read it and internalize it. If you don't understand the Hebrew, read in English. There's nice translations also because the Hebrew is a little bit difficult. Number 1. Number 2, make an honest evaluation of your Bitachon. Go through your day, go through your life. How much money you spend for Shabbos? How much money you spend for tzedakah? How do you appropriate your time? Right? That's also Emunah Bitachon. Right? How do you feel when things happen? Right? How upset do you get? Koso, kiso, and kaso. Right? How's your kaso? How angry do you get at things? How's your kiso? How much money do you spend on things? Make an honest evaluation from 1 to 100 really students. Right? And then you'll know which areas you need to grow in. And when you have a test, when you have a situation, you'll know what to do. And number 3, I'm asking you, please press the follow button now and join us every morning as I sit here at the Koso and try to help enhance our relationship with Hashem, especially when things go wrong. Thank Hashem when things go bad. The Sfas Emes says that you can either have tests challenges, nisyonos, or could learn about it. And you fulfill your requirements to have Yisurim. The Gemara says if you haven't had Yisurim in 40 days, you lost your portion of the world to come. So you can fulfill that requirement. And another requirement, Gemara Brachos, Hayamid Aleph, says that 3 gifts only come through Yisurim, Torah, Eretz Yisrael, and Haba. You can fulfill your requirements by learning about it as well, because that raises your consciousness, it raises your understanding, and you thereby have achieved the same purpose as Yisurim would have. So please press the follow button now. Join me every morning, and I'm so grateful to you for watching this shir because it's an impetus for me to continue. I will conclude with one more point. Reb Revda wrote me a beautiful tefillah that shows us how to have bitachon, right? And he wrote me a beautiful letter for my sefer as well. If you write to me at dytravis613@gmail.com, I will send you my sefer Praying with Joy, on condition that you don't print it, right? Or you can print out one copy for yourself if you wish, but don't print it on large scale. I'll send you the PDF. And on page 25, the special prayer that Reb Revda wrote for me, right? Say that prayer and add it to your tefillahs, because the main point of that prayer is asking Hashem for mercy. This is how we develop our relationship with Him, number one. Number two, read the letter that Reb Revda wrote for me for that book. It will change your life. It's the most important part about that book. It's the letter that Reb Revda penned for me about what tefillah really is all about. So I wish everyone here bracha tzlacha in everything they do, in your panas, in your financial matters, in your shalom bayis, in your domestic tranquility, in your chiladim, in the education of your children, and in your b'rias haguf, in your health. You should have blessing in all area, and we should see the end of this terrible war and the return of the captives back to their homes. Quickly, amen, King Tzara.